The Dark Pyramid. Now in 2 hours more I was come clear down out of the gorge, and stood in that country, and for all that I did feel fresh troubled and bewildered, yet was I rejoiceful, as you may believe, in the surprising light and splendor of that sudden land. And before that I had come down out of the great gorge, I had stood high within the mouth thereof, and looked well out over the mighty country. And I had counted 27 great volcanoes, and this doth not take heed of 2 monstrous ranges of fire hills that burned afar off, something unto my right. Neither doth it take account of 100,000 lesser places of fire. And truly it did seem a very land of fire and water. For there was a small fire hill stood within a sea, as it did seem no more than a little mile from that place where I did stand. And maybe a score to the back of it, spread all about. And here shall I do proper to tell concerning the seas. For there were of these, that I did count at that time, 3 that were small, and a mighty sea that went onward forever into the red light of the fire hills, so that it was gone utterly out of my sight, and did show no ending. And there rose up out of the seas islands, and on the islands volcanoes. But in other parts the fire hills did come upward straightly from the sea. And over the near sea, as it did seem, there lay a plentitude of steam, as that the sea did boil at whiles and in divers places. And there did seem to me, as it were within the red atmosphere of that place, as that there were a muttering thunder, low and constant, shaking the air, now from that distance and now from this, and this did I judge to be the voices of the fire hills, speaking with the fire that lived in them. And you shall conceive how utter new was all this unto me, for there was in that country a constant voice of the energy of life, so that the world noise of this our age was even there again, and with a keen and undoubted apparentness, and the more so some ways, than now. And here shall I set down more closely the things that were ready to my gaze. And first, that it did much attract me, there was a huge and blackened mountain unto the left of the mouth of the gorge, and the mountain did go upward into the night, maybe 15 and maybe 20 miles. And there was a mighty peaked volcano that grew out from the side of the mountain so high up as 5 miles, as I did guess that height, and this was upon the far side. And above this there was a second, maybe 9 or 10 great miles up in the blackness of the night that hung afar upward. And, as that this were not great wonder enough, there did burn and glow 2 other mighty fire hills, at an utter height, upon the left crest of that black mountain, and these were upward so monstrous a way, as that they did seem to make strange and smouldering suns within the night. And truly, as you shall perceive, this was a wondrous thing. And below these upward fire hills there rose up from the earth vast mountains of ash and burned stuff, that had been cast forth by these perched volcanoes, and had poured downward unto the earth throughout eternity, and so to build grey and somber monuments unto the dreadful glory of time. And to my right there was always sea and the red blazing of the fire hills, but unto my left, there were mighty forests, and there rose upward here and in that place, as that they were beyond the great woods, monstrous fire hills. And so do you take from me something of that first impressing upon my brain and sense? And after that I had come down out of the mouth of the great gorge, as I did tell a little while gone, I came upon a pause, for, surely, which way was the way proper unto my search? And I looked about for a great while, and afterward did climb back into the gorge, and called myself foolish, that I had not thought to map my way ere I came down. And when I was come up into the gorge again, lo! I saw that there was but one way that I should go, for truly, as I have said, there was only the seas unto my right, but unto the left, where the shores did meet the seas, there seemed, so far as mine eyes did tell to me, a clear way for a space. And mayhap, when I had come so far, I should even find a further way to go forward. And so did I descend again unto the country of the seas, as I did ever call that red shining country of water and fire. And by that I was come again from the height of the gorge, it was 24 hours since that I did last sleep, so that I was fain that I should put into some nook, and come to slumber, as you shall well believe. And I found me a neat and proper place, where 3 great trees grew about a little basin of rock that was very dry and warm. And here, after that I had eat 3 of the tablets, and drunk some of the water, the while that my belly did yearn, as ever, for proper eating stuff, I made my bed in the little basin of the rock, and lay me down, and did begin to think a while upon Nani, but was gone over to sleep before that I was aware. And lo! I was suddenly awake, and did find that I swam in a hot water, and a mercy, I did think, was it that I was not drowned as I did sleep. And I gat me to my feet, and the basin was full of water, hot and steaming, and pungent to the taste, as well I did know. And I perceived now that the water poured in from a smooth slit upon the far side, and did come with a strange gurgling and bubbling, so that I conceived some deep well to boil, and thus to drive upward this water into the basin, and glad was I that it did not boil as it came forth. And surely, now that I was upon the dry land, and did consider, I did quickly suppose that the water had poured forth at seasons into the basin for an eternity of time, and afterward did go back by fissures in the bottom of the basin, and this to happen, as I soon did find, a little beyond the length of every hour, and, indeed, the basin to empty slow as I did watch. Now, being much wetted, I stripped off mine armor, having before this dipped out mine effects from the hot pool, and so did come down to the naked flesh, and I found a place where the rock was hot, and here I did spread my garments. And whilst that they came to dryness, I gat me into the hot pool, and had a very pleasant bathing, and did have no great fear of any dangerous thing, for, as it did seem, I had surely left all such behind, within the night lands. Yet did I have the discos upon the pool edge to my hand, for I had no proper assurance in this matter. Yet, as it did prove, there were many monstrous beasts in that country, but never did I feel the nearness and horrid power of any evil force, for these, as I do conceive, were congregate and gathered about the mighty pyramid, being attracted thereto by the great spiritual essence of so wondrous a multitude of humans gotten so close in one spot, even as sharks do come after the ship that hath bullocks within. Yet, how that the evil powers were given entrance unto this state of our life, I have no sure knowing, yet have I put forward certain thoughts on this matter in an earlier place, and more than such thinkings is surely vanity, for there is no certainty in my reasoning concerning the thing. Now, presently was my clothing dry, yet before this, I had come out from that bath, which truly was nigh all gone backward into the earth. And I dressed me again, and got my armor upon me, and afterward was I in a more lightsome state of the mind, and yet very ready to come again unto my sleep. And this I did, and had 6 hours more beside the pool, and once was wakened somewhat by the gruntling and bubbling noise of the water, that was made as the pool did fill time and again. And when the 6 hours were gone, I waked very well fitted in my senses and feelings to go forward again through that red-lighted country, and this I did, after that I had eaten drunk. Now all that day I went forward at a great pace, and the nameless woods were unto my left, and the shores of the seas unto my right. And oft did I find that the trees grew even into the water, so that oft did I go forward among the trees, and a very wonderful thing was this to me, that never had known before in all my life, until I was come into that country, how that a glad and wild mystery doth live among forest trees. For there was no such strange wildness among the groves of the underground fields, though a solemn beauty in plenty. And the scent of the woods was sweet unto my spirit, as you shall what. Now all the time that I did go, there was the shore unto my right, but alway to my left, and around me oft times as I did say, the great forests. And as I did go, lo! There was life in all those darksome woods, and living eyes did peer out odd whiles upon me, and afterward go backward into the dark, so that I wot not whether to fear, or to have no heed of trouble. Yet naught did come anigh to me, to make any hurt. And thrice in that day did I come to little fire hills that burnt redly, and sent out fire and noise, so that I heard their trouble each time through the forest, before that I was come to them. And about each was there a deadness and desolation, where the fire had killed the big trees, yet, as I did observe, the quick life of little plants did grow more nigh, as that they were born and lived between the times of the fire bursts. And this I do take it that you perceive. And in that one day I passed 37 boiling springs, but whether they boil truly, I do have no knowledge, only that they send out a great steam oft times, and some did make a strong roaring noise, so that to hear them afar off in the forests was to think odd times that some wild beast roared strangely. Now, when the 18th hour was come, I sat me down, as I had done upon the 6th and the 12th hours, and eat 2 of the tablets, and drank some of the water, which here did fizz very rich and quick. And afterward I lay down to my slumber, for I was greatly wearied. And I had chosen a place against a great rock, which was so that no creature might come upon me from behind. And I came easy upon sleep, but yet I did fix it upon me that I slumber only with the body, for I did know, by the shining of the eyes in the darksome woods, that strange creatures abode in the mighty forests. And ere I was gone over to sleep, I thought upon Nanny, as I had done much all that day, as though her spirit did hover near unto mine, and did strive pitiful to speak with me. And this I set out to you, that you shall know how it did seem unto me in my thoughts and fancyings. And as I lay there, I put a blessing upon her, and a determination into my heart that I make a more desperate speed of my going, if that might be, so that I come the sooner to that strange and unknown place in the dead world where did stand the lesser refuge. And I was then asleep in a moment. And lo! Sudden I was awake. And lovely was the brightness of that country, that did show me in a moment my danger, and did not keep me suspend in fearful doubt, as did the grey darkness and strange shadows and lights of the night land. For I saw, on the instant that I got me to mine elbow, how that certain things did crouch within the borders of the trees, no more than a score paces off. And I perceived in a moment that my spirit had been given knowledge, and had wakened me. And I stared, the while that I did grip the discos, and I saw that there were 6 squat men that were humped at the neck and shoulder, and they did crouch all there in a row, and were something hid by the shadows, and I perceived that they watched me, and the eyes of the men did shine like the eyes of beasts, and so shall you know somewhat of the strange terror that came upon me. Yet had I the discos in mine armor, and though my heart did shake a little, yet was my spirit assured to conquer. Now I gat me to my feet, and had the discos ready within my hand, and behold, I could not see the humped men, for they were gone from that place, yet never did I see them go, though I had kept my gaze very steadfast upon that part where they did hide. And, as you shall understand, I was near ready to believe that there had been nothing there within the border of the wood, yet truly I knew that the men with the humps had been there, as I had seen. Now, I looked presently, and found that I had slept 5 hours, and I eat 2 of the tablets, as I did stand there, watchful, and afterward drank some of the water, and so was ready to go forward again, for I was grown very anxious to be gone from that place, and did have no knowledge but that those strangely humped men were but a little way off, among the trees, and might come upon me in a moment, or, further, that they did go to call an army of other humped men to my destruction. And after that I was ready, and had my gear secure upon me, I set off at a great stride, and did hold the discos very handy, and looked this way and looked that way, and all the while made onward with speed, for, truly, I was grown so lean and hard that it did seem to me that I had power to outpace those men or aught else of their kind. And all that day, through 30 great hours did I go forward, at that stride, and did always watch, and at every 6th hour, I eat 2 of the tablets and drank a little of the water, and went onward again. And so did I hope that I was lost from those humped men. Yet, though I did hope, my faith was not this wise, for twice and thrice did it come to me that there went things through the woods to my left all that day, and did keep always to a level with my speed, yet were always hid. And, as you shall believe, this did be a very shaking thing to my heart, and did make my hope of but little account. Now, because that I had no faith to company my hope, I was not easy to have slumber, until that I was come to a place proper and safe. And so, as I have told, I went onward through 30 great hours, and, in truth, in all that while I did find nowhere that did seem to fit my need. And lo! About the end of the 30th hour, I perceived that there was water ahead, besides the water of the sea that was ever to my right. And I thought, maybe, that the sea did go inward at that part of the land, but it was otherwise, for when I was gotten to that place, I found that a river came into the sea, and did come out of all the country that lay unto my left. And in the mouth of this river, there was a small island, and surely I did look across to the island, and think it a refuge from the humped men that did surely play dog upon my going. Yet, truly, this was but an idle thought, and my need was that I should come to some way to cross over the river, that I go forward beside the great sea, which did stretch onward, as it did seem forever, before me upon the far side. And I knew not how to go across, for I had no power to swim, and had I swum, there were surely monsters in that great and warm-flowing river, as you shall believe. And I went upward of the river bank, that I might come to some place where the river did narrow, and surely I had been like to walk a mighty distance to this purpose, but that I came soon to a second river that did enter the first, not a mile above the shore of the sea, so that, as you do perceive, there was the sea to one side of me, and this second river unto the other, and the first river before me, and thus was I sorely perplexed, as any had been truly that was in a like trouble. Yet, as it did chance, the need to go forward, and the danger of the humped men, put wit into me, so that I looked about for a tree that was fallen. And there were many, yet great, so that I was much wearied and something strained of the spirit, before that I get 2 little trees unto the water. Now, when this was done, I made me a rough pole of a young tree plant, and afterward, I lashed the 2 trees together with my belts and straps, and so had somewhat of a raft. And you shall picture that, all the time as I did go about this business, I was very heedful lest the humped men should come upon me, ere that I was gone free upon the water. And this constant heeding did double the labor of my work, as you shall perceive, yet, in the end, it was done, and I ready to adventure over the river. And so I did push off with the pole, and I pushed and paddled maybe the half of an hour, for, indeed it was all a clumsy contriving, and mayhap by the more so in my labors. Yet, presently, I was come so far over, that I drew nigh to the island, and it did seem a wise and proper thing that I should have my slumber there, and afterward go onward to the farther shore. And this I did, and after that I had eaten and drunk, as ever, I lay down to sleep. And by this time it was 33 hours since last I did slumber, so that I was bitterly awearied. And I had a great and restful sleep, for, truly, the island did seem a very safe place, and, in verity, I came to no harm, though I was as a dead man for 9 great hours, and so shall you perceive my weariness. And when I was come proper awake, I eat 2 of the tablets, and drank some of the water, and afterward made an end of my voyage, and then did take back my belts and straps from binding the trees, and so forward again upon my way, and no more fearful of the humped men, for, surely, I did think I had left them all upon the far shore of the river, though afterward I minded me that they might grow likewise upon the 2 sides, but yet was I only discovered by those upon the one, as you do know. And all that day I went very swift, and passed many strange matters and did coast upon wonders oft. And at the 6th and the 12th hours did I eat and drink, as ever, and between the 8th and the 14th hours did I come past 2 mighty fire hills, that made all the country to tremble with their noise. And 4 times did monstrous creatures pass by me, but I was swift hid, and came to no harm. And oft as I did go, were my thoughts upon the dear maid that I journeyed to save from destruction. Yet, as you must see, always were my thinkings brought sharply unto my going, so that scarce was I ever set off to ponder upon Nani, but that there came some danger or wonder to give me heed to my way. And because of this, as you have learned, I was more put to plan free of the instant trouble and peril of my way, through all that mighty journey, than to have quiet chance for thoughts of love unto mine own. Yet, truly, was not my journey one whole thought of love unto Nani? And, that peril made oft dumb my brain, was but the truer song unto my maid. And at times I was among trees, but oft did go past unnumbered boiling springs and small fire hills, and oft was the air full of the noise of the little fire hills, and the roar of the boiling springs, but there came no harm unto me. And 1,000 times did I perceive things that had life, and I made a very cautious way, though with a great speed and cleverness of going that made my heart glad. And oft did I come to parts where a great life held the trees, and green stuff did flourish exceedingly, and the air rich and full and wondrous sweet, so that I was fain to think how that in some far-off time, it might be that our children's children should come down unto this country, when the upper valley of the night land was grown to an utter chill and lacking of air, and here build them a new refuge, if, indeed, any should come clear of the evil forces and the monsters that did live about the mighty pyramid in the night land. Yet, how should they come clear of those things, so that this is, as you do perceive, no more than a thought that did rise vaguely in me. And yet, again, who shall say what may be? And onward I did pass, and I do mind me how that I saw the lower fires of that country to burn very fierce, and this I set to the richness of the air, but yet with no surety of knowledge, and do but tell the same that you shall see the oddments of thought that went oft across my brain, and so have so much knowledge as I, concerning this and that. Now, a little before the 18th hour was come, I came out from among the trees, and the sea was downward of a great cliff unto my right, for I had gone upward for a long and weary hour. And I did see now a thing that made me to be cautious, and yet that did hold my heart to go swiftly to perceive the thing, for it was very strange. And I went forward quickly, yet with a wise care, and so was come presently more nigh. And I perceived that the thing was, in part, a high rock, very tall and pointed and maybe 100 feet high, but afterward I did find it to be more. And there was a monstrous great thing upon the top of the rock, that did seem very strange, and I stopped and looked, and afterward went forward again, and so for a time, until that I was but a little way off. And now I saw that there did seem to be a mighty long rock laid across the topmost part of the upstanding rock, and yet had a very strange and shapely appearance, and did seem upon the under part to be as that I had looked before upon it. And upon the upper part, there grew trees and green things, even as these did grow upon odd ledges of the upstanding rock. Yet, for the most, the rock was very stark, as that a blast had blown upon it, and made it bare. Now, when I had looked for a while, I bethought me that this should be a safe and proper place for my slumber, if that I had power to come safe to the top. And when I had thought this thing, I began at once to climb up the rock, and I found that the rock was very high, so that in a while I was come a great way off the earth, and yet was not come to the top of the rock. And because that I was awearied, I looked about for a safe place to mine hand, and lo! There was a shelf of the rock very nigh, that went inward a little to the side. And I gat me to this ledge, and did eat and drink, and presently I slept, and scarce had thought of Nani in the moment of my slumbering, for a great weariness was upon me, the which I do think to have come by reason that I was not yet proper rested from the task of the day that was gone before that one. Now I waked very sudden, maybe 7 hours after, and I had knowledge within me that my spirit did what of some nigh danger. And I gat upward from the rock, very quiet, and had the discos ready in my hand. And I looked swift about me in the moment that I did wake, yet did see nothing, for there was naught on the ledge with me. And I crept to the edge, and looked downward, and lo! I did see that there came up the rock 2 humped men, and they did climb very swift and silent, and I perceived that they smelled me, and came to destroy me. And I made ready the discos to do battle, and ceased not to look downward. And I saw how that the humped men did seem to be humped by reason of their being so monstrous thick and mighty of the neck and the shoulder, as that they had been human bulls. And I saw that they were very strong, and by the speed of their climbing, I knew they were swift, and so did I make steady my attention and my heart to the saving of my life, for truly I did know that I should be dead in a little, or they. Now I stepped back a space from the edge of the rock, and had the discos very ready, for it was needful that I should kill one of those brute men speedy, that I have no danger that one take me in the back, whilst that I fight with the other. Then, in a moment it did seem, there came upward of the rock edge, the great and brutish face of the man. And in that moment that I slew him, I did note curiously how that he had large teeth upon each side of the mouth, and was aware that he had come so quiet as a great cat. And in the backward parts of my brain, I bethought that even thus, maybe, was primal man, so that a strange and secondary questioning and wondering did live in that part of me, and I did learn from these scarce conscious reasonings that I was of belief the thing was truly a man, but very crude and dangerous. And surely it is strange that I had all this thought in that little moment, but in verity so it was, though I doubt not but I bettered it with afterthoughts, when a while had gone. Now the first man died ere his great-haired breast was come upward over the rock, and he sank back, and sagged and fell dully, and I heard him bodge downward from rock to rock, very lumbersome, and so in a moment was silence. Then did I look this way and that way of the ledge, for the second humped man was not yet upon me, and I feared that the pause did mean a cunning mischief and strategy. And when a little time had passed, and all the while I was ready with the discos, and naught did come upward to harm me, I stepped very soft to the edge of the rock ledge, and looked downward, but there was nowhere anything to see. Now, for a little moment, I did think that the brutish man had run off, being feared by the death that I did deal unto the first, yet I put this from me at once, for I did what that such a creature did not be like to fear in such wise, but was rather set to some horrid cunning of attack, as I did fear, and was somewhere below me among the holes of the great rock. Then I did think sudden that he might be gone upward, so that he should come down upon my back, and I looked upward of the mighty rock, but did see naught, and afterward I stepped forward a great way beyond the edge, so that I should perceive whether the man did hide beneath. And, behold, he was there below me, and crouched under the rock shelf, ready to his spring. And in that moment, he made unto me with so mighty a leap as any tiger should give. And he came half over the edge, and gripped the discos by the handle, in an instant. And surely I had lost that trusted weapon, or been pulled over and cast into the depth, but that the discos did spin, and the earth current did make live the handle as was intended, save where the grip was set. And lo! The man gave loose the handle very swift, for it had burned and shaken the creature sore. And I staggered back, with the effort I had made to withhold the discos, and the brutish man came upward again over the rock edge, and leapt at me. Yet he gat me not, for I sprang unto my right, and made a blow with the discos, even as I did leap. And the blow came something short, but yet harmed the humped man with a gash upon the belly, very sore and horrid among the great brown hairs of the man. And immediately he sprang after me, but I smote full at the face, so that he leaped back from the strange roar and blaze of the discos, and yet was harmed, for he gat not right free of the blow, but did be cut very sore on the mighty and haired arm. Now, seeing that he was something feared of the weapon, I ran in upon him, and smote again at the face, yet was the man gone out of my reach before that the blow did reach, for, truly, he was quick as a panther. And immediately he did leap unto the ending of the ledge, where it did join upon the rock, and he caught the living rock between his two hands. And truly the rock must have been split ten there, for he tore out a monstrous lump, so great near as my body, and did run upon me with the rock above the head of him. Now, I perceived I should be smashed in a moment, if that I did not slay the man very quick. For so mighty was he, that he did leap this way and that way after me, as though the great rock did cumber him no more than it had been but a light matter. And you shall perceive that I leapt this way and that way, to avoid the man, and twice did strike him, but yet was feared to break the discos upon the rock, which the man did use as a shield each time that I did make a blow. And all the while, I did act to escape when that the man should cast the rock, as I did conceive at the first to be his intent. Yet, truly, it was as that he had no wotting that a rock may be thrown, for he strave only to come at me with the rock, that he should crush me, as with a monstrous club. And, in verity, what should a man do against so horrid an attack? And time and oft did I leap now to the right and now to the left, and again in a moment I did cut the humped man, but the blow was something turned off by the great rock in the hands of the man, yet so strange and mighty was the power of the discos, that it shore away a small portion of the rock, and did come to no hurt in itself. And, surely I had presently failed in wind and limb, because of the leapings and chargings that I did make, and because of the weight of the armor, that was not overmuch, yet to be considered, but that I fainted not, was by reason of the wondrous hardness and leanness that I was grown to, with so constant a journeying and straight living, for the tablets did keep the strength in a man, though, truly, they eased not the yearnings of the belly. And lo! Even the brutish man did grow weary, and the hot breath and body stink to come from him, and surely who shall wonder, for always he did rush to and fro upon me, with the monstrous rock to crush me. And sudden, I leapt unto the right of the man, thinking within me that I did perceive a chance that I should cut him upon that side, but, truly, he was less awearied than I did know, for he came very sharp upon me, and had me between him and the wall of the rock, and surely I had no room to make escape, and had died in a moment, but that I made a sudden sham toward the left with the discos, as that I should leap that way. And in the same instant, I did go to the right with a strong bounding, and immediately did come in upon the humped man from that side, and I put my fortune of life to the stroke, and stood an eye to the man, and I smote him across the middle part, before that he did what of my intent. And the blow slew the man very surely, and did nigh cut the mighty creature in twain. And surely he fell, half leaping even as he died, so that the monstrous rock that was in the hands of the brutish man, did crash down almost upon my feet, and I leapt very high that I should escape the thundering of the rock, for in verity, I was near slain in that last moment of the life of the humped man. But yet I lived and came free of death, and did have a relief of happiness about my heart, as you shall believe. Yet, truly, I was much shaken, and a little weakness took me, so that I was fain to go down upon the rock shelf, that I have back my strength. And presently, I was grown steady again, and I took my gear, and did haste down the rock, and so was come presently to the earth again. And I saw the first of the humped men that I did slay, lying very quiet a little off from the bottom of the rock, so that I went round upon the other side to avoid the man, for it was no pleasure to mine eyes or to my heart. And, truly, it did trouble me always to make a death. And when I was come round upon the other, which was the seaward side of the rock, I perceived that I was yet shaken, and I remembered that it were wise to eat and drink and rest a little, before that I did go further upon my way. Now, as I did sit there at the bottom of the rock, I looked upward at the strange crown thereof, and until that time, I had been taken up with the fight and with gazings this way and that to see whether there came others of the humped men to work me in harm. But now that I was given some ease of the mind and of the body, I saw plainly that I knew the thing that lay upward upon the rock, for the shape had been something strange and half known to me even before that moment, as that I had a vague knowledge concerning it, but yet with no surety. And now, truly, I did know in a little instant that the thing was one of the olden flying ships, the which, as you shall mind, there were certain in the great museum of the mighty pyramid. And surely, I was ready to wonder why that I had not seen the thing plain before that moment. It was this like to be because that there was a shadow upon the other side of the great rock, but upon this side there was a little fire hill away off to the cliff edge, and this did throw a warm light that made a glimmer upon the dull metal of the ship's bottom, which was uncovered to my sight, and was surely of that same deathless grey metal that made the great redoubt. And yet, as you shall believe, even as I said this thing to my mind, that the strange matter upon the top of the rock was truly one of the olden airships, I did feel that I should be proper to doubt, for it was a very wondrous thing to perceive a thing common to man, in that utter strange country, and after that I was gone so far off from the mighty pyramid. Yet, in verity, I did know in my heart that it was indeed that which I did perceive it to be, and I did stand and walk to and fro and look upward constant, for I was very keen that I look well upon it. And truly, as I did look from this place and from that place, it was scarce a thing for wonder that I had not wotted to be an air vessel, for there were great trees and abundance of earth and living matters upon the topmost side of the ship, so that none could easy perceive it to be aught save a great and desolate rock that did lie upon the other rock. Yet, truly, it was as I have told, and presently I did make to climb upward of the great rock, that I should come to the air vessel to enter it. But yet was this not proper, for I had surely no duty save to go forward forever, until that I found the maid, but yet did I spend a little while to this searching of the ship, and I do but set down that which I did, and with a serious spirit. And truly, as it doth here occur to me, I do be ever seeming a serious young man, as you maybe shall have grown to think, but yet was I to a dread in serious business, and the strain did be too great upon me and the trouble too much pressed upon my heart to give me much of laughter, as you do surely perceive, and so you to give me your ear and your understanding. For, indeed, before that I did lose Myrtith my beautiful one, I was not over grave, but so young and joyous as any. Now it took me a great time to go upward of the rock, for it was so monstrous steep and high. Yet, presently was I come nigh unto the bottom of the ship, and here I did perceive that she had been sore battered in that far-off age when she did come upon the rock, for, surely, as I did perceive, the peak of the rock was through the bottom of the ship, so that the metal was burst this way and that, and very plain to be seen in some parts, but in other places the earth and growing matters did make a hiding. And after that I had climbed this way and that way, I perceived that I must come to the topmost part by the plants that did hang over, and grow downward. And after that I had pulled upon them, to know that they were strong to hold me, I went upon them, and was soon to the top of the ship. Yet, truly, I might so well have been upon the earth, for the ship was covered above by the earth and dust of a monstrous age of years, so that I was like to need much time to dig downward unto the ship, and because of this, I considered a little while, and afterward made no more to search her, but did go downward again, that I should come once more to my journey. Yet, as you shall think, it was with a queer thrilling of the heart, and with strange thoughts upon the end of those that did come, maybe, to a bitter and lonesome dying in that ship of the air, in that far-off time when she did fly. And surely, it did seem to me as I went downward of the great rock, how that the flying ship had been there for 100,000 years, and that mayhaps the sea did live all about the rock in that age, and truly this was no improper thing to think, for it was like that the sea had been monstrous high and great in those days, so that the rock was but a little island in the midst of the sea, and now was the sea gone small from a great sea to lesser seas, and this through an eternity of years. And always, as it doth seem to me, had the ship lain upon the rock, and looked quiet and silent over the change and wonder and the lonesomeness of all that country of fire and water, forever. But how the airship did come upon the rock, how shall I know, save, maybe, it doth seem as that she might have flown low over the sea in that olden age, and come hard upon the rock, because, maybe, there was one to the helm that did steer unwittingly. And again, it shall well be otherwise, and I do but set down mine odd thoughts, and such as they be, they have no especial use, save that they do show to you the different workings of my mind at that time, as I did go downward. And so to set you the more in possession of all that I did have knowledge of. And presently, I was come again to the earth, and did go forward with a great speed, so that I should waste no more of that day. Yet, oft did I think upon that ship hid there upon the mighty rock, under the wondrous quiet ashes of eternity. And I went 18 hours walking, and in all that time I did see no more of the humped men, yet 3 times was I put in a sudden danger, for there went past me thrice, between the 14th and the 17th hours, great flying monsters, that were winged very ugly, and did go, as I thought, in a great bounding, rather than that they did fly proper as doth a bird. Yet I suffered no hurt from these, for I was swift to hide between the great boulders that were very plenty in that part, but no trees. For I was gone now past the forests of trees, there being none since that I had gone through a very shallow river, that I came to about the 13th hour. And this had I waded, and sounded my path with the staff of the discos, but I had kept mine armor upon me, lest there be things, even in water so shallow, that might bite and work harm upon me. But I got through pretty quick, and had no hurt done me. Now I had eat, as ever, at the 6th and the 12th hours, and by that the 18th hour was come, I was nigh again unto a forest, that came down to the shore that went alway upon my right, and I to be very sore and wearied, as you shall know, for I had fought very desperate after my waking, and afterward climbed the great rock, and then again to journey, so that it was, by this, nigh to 21 hours since that I did sleep. And surely, I looked this way and that way, constant, and did see no place proper to my slumber. But afterward, I considered I did be a fool, to lack such, for truly the trees were plentiful, and I could climb a great one, and strap my body safe, and so have a sure bed for my rest. And I did this thing, and went upward into a great tree, and did tie my body to the tree, with my belts, yet I eat and drank before that I went up the tree. Now when I was fast upward in the tree, and had made a bed upon a monstrous branch, and had the discos ready upon my hip, so that it should not fall but be nigh to my hand, I lay a little while thinking upon Nani, and I went not over to sleep immediately, which was strange, yet mayhaps because that my bed was so uncertain. And I considered very gravely how that it was a monstrous long while since that I did hear the master word from the dear maid, and truly I was come a dreadful way from mine home, which was the mighty pyramid, for I had gone onward forever through 25 great days of travel, and was not yet come to any place that did appear like to be that place where the maid did abide. And it did seem that I might even wander onward in that great country of fire and water for a time beyond all that I had before gone, and this thought did put a great weight of trouble and weariness upon my heart, for the maid had been in sore need of me, and I did feel sudden to be all adrift in the wilderness. But before this time, it had seemed as that I surely went aright. And mayhaps your sympathy shall tell you just how I to feel in the heart. And after that I had lain there very awkward, and thought upon all matters, I minded me that I would try the compass again upon the morrow, but had no great hopes of the machine, yet did be willing to try out to see where I had gotten to. And truly, as it did come to my mind, if that the compass did point a little as I did what it was used to point in the lesser redoubt, then, in verity, I was surely come something more anigh to that unknown place of the world than I did dare to believe. And this to be plain to you. That a little time did pass in which I did wake and sleep, a little, but with no surety of sleep, but as that I was very tired of the heart, and did but lie too wearied to come properly to sleep, And odd whiles I did lie with mine eyes half to open, and did look very dreamful upward among the dark branches of the tree, as they did show black and pretty against the redness of the shining that came from the sea, for there was stood a great and bright burning fire hill in that part of the sea that lay off the shore from me. And above the glaring of the fire hill, there was the deep night that did brood for ever above in a monstrous black gloom of eternity, and did make the red smoke of the volcano to show deep and mighty and thunderous seeming, afar up in the great dark. And the red and shining smoke did but show the utter hugeness of the night, that had been upon the world through the great ages. And, in verity, as I did lie there so dreamful, it did come to me afresh how wondrous strange was mine adventure, and how that I did lie warm and alive in a country of red light and smoking seas. And, truly, as I did remember and consider, there was a great and lost world above me, upward through the dark, maybe 150 great miles up in the grim night. And this thing did strike me very solemn, as I did lie, and I do trust that you conceive how that there was, in truth, afar above in the eternal and unknown night, the stupendous desolation of the dead world, and the eternal snow and starless dark. And, as I do think, a cold so bitter that it held death to all living that should come anigh to it. Yet, bethink you, if one had lived in that far height of the dead world, and come upon the edge of that mighty valley in which all life that was left of earth did abide, they should have been like to look downward vaguely into so monstrous a deep that they had seen naught, mayhaps, save a dull and utter strange glowing far downward in the great night, in this place and in that. And surely, as you shall have seen, I have set the great deep of the valley to be, maybe, 150 miles of night, for, as you do mind, it was conceived that the valley of the night land was 100 miles deep, and mayhap to be more, and I had come from that place downward of the mighty slope, and of the gorge, a very great way. Yet, in verity, I do believe in my heart this measuring was utter wrong, for I think the deep to have been monstrous, beyond these miles that I do give, yet have I no proving of this belief, and do set it down for no more than it is. Now, presently, I had ceased from these vague thinkings and half-dreamings, and was gone truly to sleep. Yet, nowise did I sleep very strong, but did seem to come anigh to wakefulness, this time and that. And, as it did chance, this was mayhaps a very good thing for my life, for I did presently come awake more surely, and did turn on the great branch, for there was a noise in the air, that was not the noise of the great fire hill. And the noise did grow, very heavy and lumbersome. And, in a moment, there came 7 humped men, running among the trees, as that some monstrous thing did pursue. And immediately they were beneath the tree in which I did lie, so that a great fear came upon me, and I loosed the belt from the branch, that I should be free to fight. And, directly upon this, I saw that the men did leap upward into the tree, beneath me, but not as that they did what of me or make to come at me, but as that they did pay a great heed to some creature or happening that was far off among the trees. And surely, the noise did seem to come from that part, and did grow loud and mighty, and the humped men did all crouch very silent, and did make no noise or motion one to the other, but were quiet upon the lower branches. And, as I did look now more to my ease, I perceived that they had each a great stone, and bloody, that did seem as that it were split to a certain sharpness, even as a stone doth break very natural. And they carried the stone under this arm or under that arm, so that they had their hands free to all matters. And alway the noise did come the more anigh, and I saw that a humped man did come running from among the trees, and did run beneath that place where the 7 humped men did be on the branches. But they made no sign to the man, to save him, yet truly it was very plain that some monster pursued the man. And immediately I saw how this thing was, for the humped man upon the ground did not run so fast as might be, and I conceived that he did act to make some creature to come after him, to pass under the men within the tree. And surely this thing did prove to be, for there came very quick, a great and ugly thing, that had an ugly way of putting down the feet, and did have 7 feet to each side, which was very strange, and the back was as that it were horny, and the belly of the thing did seem to brush heavy upon the earth, and it grunted, as it went, and shook the earth with the weight of it, so that a monstrous noise came from it, upon so hasty a journey. And I did wot that it was not such a thing as did properly pursue after matters of food, but did rather eat of that which did need little haste, but a monstrous strength, to gain. And that it did so make after the man, was in truth because that it had been wounded and made fierce, for, indeed, there came blood from the creature from great wounds upon the back, but how these were made, I could not know in that instant. And it did go under the tree in which I was hid, and in that moment when it passed under the tree, the 7 humped men did leap out of the branches, and did catch to the brute by the great horns of the spine, and I saw that the wounds were in the joints of the spine, as was plain when the back did work, with the going of the creature. And the 7 humped men took the sharp stones from under their arms, and did strike very brutal in the wounds that were in the joints of the spine, and the creature roared and cried, and went onward into the trees at a great speed, and in all the time that it ran, the humped men ceased not to strike with the stones. And sudden, when it was gone a distance off, it did roll very swift over upon the back, first to the right, as that it would go that way, so that the humped men did leap off upon the other side. And immediately the creature rolled to that side, and there ran clear of the brute only 4 of the humped men, so that I knew that 3 were slain. And afterwards, they that lived, ran beyond the beast, and gat up into a second tree, and the one that was chased, did entice the creature to follow, and so did tease it once more to pass beneath the other men, and they very swiftly again to the back of the creature, and so from my sight, striking with the great stones, and the beast bellowing very loud and piteous. And how many of the humped men there were to the beginning of that strange hunting, I know not, but surely there were few that lived to the end. And surely there were such things as this thing in the beginning of the world, and again was it thus in the end, and I did ponder this a little while, as I did sit upon the great branch, and hearken unto the sound of the hunting, that was now gone a great way off, and was presently beyond my hearing. And afterward, I gat me to the earth, and did look this way and that way, to see that no beast was anigh, neither any of the humped men, and afterward, I eat 2 of the tablets and drank some of the water. And when I had gat this far to a readiness for my going, I minded me that I should try the compass again, as I did intend. And surely the machine did point between the north and the south, upon the westward arc, even as Nani had told unto me, yet, as it did seem, with somewhat more of a southward pointing than she had made me to think. And because of this telling of the compass, a great ease came upon my spirit, for, surely, was not this but a sure sign that I did go direct unto that hidden place of the world where the lesser refuge did abide, but yet was not come over close, so that the pull of the mighty earth current of the great redoubt was something stronger than in the place where was the little pyramid. And all this did I think very swift to myself, and had a glad uplifting of the heart, as you do perceive, so that I went forward upon my journey, with a great stride, and did scarce fear any strange thing that all the country did hold, in that moment. And I went all that day at a strong pace, and did be oft tempted to send the master word unto Nani, yet did keep from so foolish an acting, the which, mayhaps, had brought straightway upon me an evil power, and had given me to destruction when that I was near come to the succor of the maid. And it was this quick and constant fear of the evil forces of the nightland, that did keep me ever from calling unto Nani, lest that they should discover me, and follow after, and this, I doubt not, you to know by now so well as I. Now, by the 6th hour, I was come into a part of the country where there were an exceeding abundance of steam fountains and sprayings and great upboilings of water in basins of rock, and the air did be full of the sounds and the roarings of the boilings and the spoutings, and of a hot mist and spray, so that, truly, I had scarce the power to see to my front, nor to any side. And here, presently, I made a pause, and did eat and drink, and afterward went forward again, and I did keep the shore of the sea always to my right, and so did go proper to my way, yet with no great ease, for the sea also did steam very strong in that part, and because of this great fog of steam, I was surely much laboured to make a great speed, lest unseeing I go headlong into an hole of the boiling water. And in the 9th hour, I did go clear of the hot boilings, and was come again free of the mist and the steam, and might look with mine eyes to my going. And, surely, as I did perceive, I was come to the end of the great sea that had been ever to my right, for it did go against the feet of great and monstrous mountains, that went upward forever into the night, and did seem as that they were the hither wall of that strange country of fire and water. And so as I stood there very much taken upon doubt, for how should I go farther? And after that I had been there a while, in a bewilderment of doubt and of wit, I went to the left, along the feet of the mountains, and truly this but of common sense, for how might I go any other way, save I go back again? And at the 12th hour I eat 2 of the tablets, and drank some of the water, and went forward once more. And lo! At the 15th hour, I was come to a place between the mountains, even an upward gorge, very dark and gloomy, and without light for a great way. And, in verity, I did not want to go up the gorge, in that it was so dreary a place and narrow and horrid and drear seeming, after the light and wideness of the country in which I did yet stand. And presently, I did go past the mouth of the gorge, that I should learn whether there went another way out of that country. And this wise, for a great hour more, along the feet of the mountains, and did presently come to a monstrous black river, that was, maybe, a mile wide. And it to be very shallow, and seeming is that the water scarce to cover the mud of the bottom. And here and there a great steam did come from it, and spurtings and moundings up of the mud in many places, and monstrous babblings and puffings up of strange smoke, as that a great heat went beneath it in this place and in that. And surely it went backward into the country for a mighty way, so far as my sight did go, and I did think it to be no river, but truly a further sea. And there was no way across, for there were no trees anigh, to make me a raft, neither might I wade across, for it might be shallow here and deep there, and the mud be in all places. And, moreover, I had been like to be caught in one of those upburstings of mud, even did I have a raft to go upon. And because of all these things, I gat me back again to the gorge, and presently I did go upward into the darkness. Now, I went upward very steady, save that I did stumble oft, and did go through 6 great hours. And truly it did seem that I went in an utter dark, because that I had been a while in so constant a light. And, by that I had been 6 hours in the gorge, I was gone right away from the country of the seas, and did be as that I was back into some place that was like to the dreadness of the night land. For there were in this place and in that place of the gorge, red fire holes, even as in the night land. Yet not many until that I was come a great way up of the gorge. And there did be life of horrid things about the fires, as soon I did what, so that I made to keep off from them. Yet, as you shall perceive, I must come off pretty near, because that the gorge was nowhere scarce 100 good paces across, and did oft come very narrow, so that I did come oft nigh to the fire holes, whether that I did heed to or not. And all that time, and ever, did the gorge go very sharp upward, so that it was a very weary thing to make great trial of speed, as you shall know. But yet I went so fast as I could do, for I was grown sudden very excited about the heart, and to feel as that I did surely draw anigh to that strange and hid place of the world, where was the lesser refuge. And when I had gone upward through 6 great hours, as I did say, I took caution for a place proper to slumber, for I was surely very wearied. And I saw a place presently, afar upward of the dark side of the gorge, upon the right, where a ledge of the rock did show in the glaring from one of the fire holes that made a gloomy light in that place. And I climbed unto this ledge, and did find it to be secure, and awkward to come upon. And presently, after that I had eaten and drunk, I did compose myself unto sleep, the which came very speedy upon me, whilst yet I did believe I thought only upon the sweetness of the maid. And truly it had been something over 23 hours, since last I did sleep, so that I was greatly awearied. And in 6 hours I waked and did eat, and did climb downward again to the gorge, and so unto mine upward journey. Now, as you do perceive, when that I was come properly a great way up the gorge, and had come among the fire holes, there was no more in utter darkness, for the dull red glare of the pits beat upward upon the black sides of the rock mountains, that did make the sides of the gorge, so that oft I did see both sides very plain in the lower parts, yet of the height of the gorge, who might know aught, for the black sides did go upward for ever into the everlasting night. And because of the light from the fire pits, I did see, time and oft about the fires, horrid monsters, both that were snakes, and others like to scorpions so great as my head, but no more than these for a long while. And afterward I perceived that surely other matters did move among the rocks of the gorge, so that I did keep the discos very ready in mine hand, yet had truly no use for it all that day. Now I eat and drank at the 6th and the 12th hours, and went onward at a very strong speed. And at the 16th hour, I did seem as that I knew the ether to be stirred about me, and the beat of the master word very faint upon mine inward ear. And immediately, a wondrous great and lovely thrilling did wake all my being, for surely, I said, this was the spirit of my love, calling unto me with her brain elements. And, indeed, this was a very proper and sensible thinking, for had the master word been sent from the mighty pyramid, I had been like to hear it very plain, by reason of the force of the earth current which was with them and to their command. But, as you do know, the earth current was nigh gone from the peoples of the lesser refuge, so that they were overweak to make any proper calling. And this I have spoken of before this place. Yet, in a little while, as I did stand very hushed, that I should hark the better, I was come to doubt whether that I did truly hear the master word. And one moment I did say that it had surely beat in the night about me, and immediately would I be just so unsure, and so in a while I gat once more to my journey, and had doubt in my heart, yet, as you shall conceive, more of hope. And because of this thing, I went onward for 30 great hours from the time that I did wake, for my heart was excited within me. And when that I had gone so long forward as this, I did see how that I did foolishly, and I looked about for a place for my slumber, and I found a small cave that was clean and empty, as I did discover by the shining of the discos which I made to spin a little time. And the cave was in the cliff of the mountain that made the right side of the gorge, and was nigh 20 good feet from the bottom of the gorge, and hard to approach. And when I was come secure into the cave, and sure that it was proper to my purpose, I eat 4 of the tablets, as was just and nice to my belly, and did afterward drink some of the water, and so to my slumber, and all the while, very sweet and strong in my thoughts upon Nani, so that surely I was a little time before that I had myself rightly unto sleep. And I slept 6 hours, and did wake, for I had set my spirit hard unto such wakening, yet was I still greatly yearning for sleep. But this did go somewhat, when that I had fought a little with my need. And afterward, I eat 2 of the tablets, and drank some of the water, and did get my gear upon me, and was presently down unto the gorge, and so again to my journey. Now in all that day I did go with a very stern speed, for it did seem as that my soul did know for surety that I was truly come something nigh unto that hid place in the night where I should find mine olden love again. And the sweet hope that was bred of the calling that had seemed truly to sound about my spirit, was in all my being, and more sure on that day, than before that I had slept. And I went 30 hours in all, even as before, ere that I did come again to sleep, and I eat and drank at every 6th hour, so that my strength should abide within me. And by that I was come to the ending of the 30 hours, I was sorely awearied, and gat me upward of the monstrous cliff that did make the left side of the gorge, having perceived in a place a great ledge of the rock, that did seem very proper for my purpose of slumber. And when I was come upward upon the ledge of the rock, I saw that there did seem something, like to a mighty spider, that did stay half without of a hole in the back part of the ledge. And I smote the thing gently with the discos, so that it was very quickly dead, and afterward I searched well about, but did gladly perceive that there abode there no other horrid creature. And I eat 2 of the tablets, and drank some of the water, and did afterward make me ready for slumber, as ever. But now I did put the cloak well about me, for truly there was grown a chill into the air of the gorge, and here also will I tell how that it did seem unto me that the air was gone something from that great thickness and strength which had been with me in the past days of my journeying. Now I was gone so tired, that I fell upon sleep in a moment, yet with a dear thought and anxious, concerning Nani, but was so starved of the body for slumber, that even mine anxiousness kept me not awake. And I was then so fast with sleep that I knew not for 8 hours of very sound slumber. And then did I awake, and very thankful of the heart that no evil beast or creeping thing had come upon me whilst that I was so utter lost in sleep. And now, truly, was I something fresh and ready, and I ate and drank, and had my gear once more upon me, and so down into the gorge. And afterward, I went upon my journey for 18 hours, and did pause but a little while at the 6th and the 12th hours that I should eat and drink. And when the 18th hour was nigh come, I perceived that the nature of the gorge was grown very horrid and dank. And in verity, I did feel as that afar upward in the night the black mountains that did make the sides of the gorge had come together, and did make a monstrous roof unseen in the utter height. And this thing I do tell, only as of my belief, for I have no very sure proof. Yet, truly, my reason doth say likewise, for there did oft drip water upon me out of the darkness, even though I walked in the middle way of the gorge, and how should this thing be, save that there went an overreaching of the sides, that should let the mildew down upon me. And in this place, and for more than 11 great hours, there were fire holes and fire pits only in this part and in that, and each a great way off from another. And they burned very dull, and did seem to throw a fume of sulphur into all the air, as that there was no freedom above for the stink to pass away. And in every place were the rocks of the gorge very thick and slippery with strange growths, so that it was a sorrow to walk upon them. And all that time was there an heavy wetness and slowness in the air, and a smell, beside the stink of the fire pits, as that I did go forward through a place where dead things did be. And for a great time there was a horrid darkness, as it had been that the air was grown thick with the fumings of the fire pits, as I do believe, and beside this thing there was, as I have said, but a dull fire here and another there, so that it was like that there should be a heavy dark. And because that it was so utter black, and because that there were growths upon the rocks in the bottom of the gorge, I did go but slowly, and with pain of stumblings, and always with the stink of that place to trouble me half unto a sickness. And sudden, as I did go past one of the fire pits, I saw that the fire made a dull shining upon some monstrous thing that did move before me, upon the far side of the fire. And I came in one moment unto a swift silence, and hid among the rocks of the bottom of the gorge. And I looked very cautious at the thing that moves beyond the fire, and surely I had seen no thing so monstrous since that I had come free of the night land, for it was as that some huge creature, like to the hull of a great ship, did move down out of the dark of the upper way of the gorge. And it went by the fire hole, and onward into the dark of the lower way of the gorge, and I had perceived somewhat of it, as it did go past the fire, and, surely, it was black and beslimed, and utter great in height and in length, and it went always without noise, so that I had not known it to be there, but that I saw it plain with mine eyes. And, truly, if I do say that it was somewhat as that I had seen a monstrous slug thing, surely I should use wise and proper words to make known to you this horrid brute. And I stayed very quiet a time, and afterward I went upward again of the gorge, and did use a new caution to my way, and saw that the discos was free upon my hip, for even thus I did carry the weapon, being that I must use both hands to my way, and to save me in my stumblings and slidings over the slippery rocks. And once it did seem to me that some great thing moved in the darkness, and I went downward among the rocks, and stirred not my body for a great while, and sure am I that there went some living monster past me, that did stink as a loathsome grave. And afterward, I went on again. And 3 hours did I go thus, and came at last to a place where a fire hole did shine more ruddy, and I did look well about me, that I should perceive that part of the gorge the better. And as I stood there, very quiet, away off from the fire, so that it did show no great light upon my person, I did note how utter still was that place, and this to take me anew, as though it had come fresh upon me. And here, there would be the drip of water, and again in that place, and again elsewhere, and all very solemn and very dismal. And the silence to be constant. And presently, as I looked, now to this way and again to that, I saw that there was a monstrous slug thing laid upward against the black side of the gorge, as that it had stood up on end, and the one end of the monster went upward beyond the light from the fire pit, but the other part did come down and trail into the gorge, as a long hillock, very ugly and black and beslimed. And I near sweat with the disgust and horror of the thing, but afterward I had more courage, and spied well upon the brute. And surely, it moved not at all, any more than the side of the cliff of the gorge, and I conceived that it stood not upward upon any feet, but clung to the rock, even as you shall see a slug to go. And for a great space I was very quiet and moved not, neither did I make to hide, but stood there very stupid.